Here's a story of a lovely lady.
What's the lovely lady's name?
Dun, 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 dun,
Hello,
dun,
everyone.
dun, dun.
Welcome to THS Wrestling. My name is John, and joining me this week, as he does every week, is... You changed your name?
To John Cena.
To John Cena. John Cena has joined me. He is no longer an active wrestler, and he's sitting next to me. I can't see him, though.
He's getting paid by the minute.
Yeah, it's just racking it up.
You ready to talk about some wrestling?
I am. How are you?
I'm good, man. I just got back from the Performance Center in Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that, but before we get to that, some wild news this weekend in the form of... wild news this week.
Wild.
Corey Graves is in some trouble.
Corey Graves made a choice. And I'm not going to lie to you, John Pingle.
I think we're going to have differing opinions on this, but go ahead.
I don't agree with what he did.
Okay.
But it is Carmella. So...
Okay, I
A
mean...
little bit of pass?
No, there's no pass here. I just shared this on a random page. So random people are going to see this now. But, Corey Graves' wife... I want to say it was yesterday, posted, yes, this right here. Oh boy, it is some damning comments towards Corey Graves. Basically, I've been through all of your alcohol abuse, your attempts to take your own life, and this is how you repay me. I hope you and Carmella are happy. I really do.
Do you feel bad for Big Cass?
Real shit.
No, I don't feel bad for Real Cass.
What about Enzo Amore?
I've never felt bad for Enzo Amore in my entire life.
Okay. Real quick question about this.
Yes.
What do you think's going on in Corey Graves' head right now this second?
I'm not sure. And honestly, for me, and there you see Vince McMahon, who is, I think, angry because he's not the strawberry. I'm not really sure what's happening in this.
You son of a bitch! I should be that strawberry.
I wish I was the strawberry.
I love strawberries.
Huckleberry.
That's what he did.
He wants to be her.
Here's the link.
Only thing we got a comment already.
Okay.
George E. Bean says the only thing I didn't like was how she mentioned that personal stuff. I mean, without the personal stuff, there's really no post.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, I think all the personal stuff is pretty well known with Corey Graves.
Oh, he's cheated on her before?
Oh, not the cheat. I think he means like the alcohol abuse and the depression and all that stuff. But if he does mean the Carmella thing,
Fuck, she's hot.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's not good. It's not looking good for Corey Graves. But also, is WWE really going to do anything about this?
I don't think so.
Because
I mean, look what happened with that whole Matt Hardy, Lita, Edge thing.
Yes, that whole and the party who was cheated on ended up getting fired, which was very strange. But he got brought back. But more recently, the whole Bray Wyatt JoJo thing.
Oh, there was also in TNA. There was the Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett,
Dude, that was
Karen Angle.
I remember
Jarrett?
when that happened. That was a mess. Somebody called into a radio show and said, basically anonymously dropped that, and that was a huge mess. This could be a huge mess. Honestly, personally...
But you already know how this plays out. Anybody that's watching, just as reference, WrestleMania 5 was the culmination of Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage because of Miss Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. This is how this stuff works in wrestling world. Ooh, yeah, brother. I see the lust in your eyes. Yeah.
You tax him backstage while they're checking on Carmella.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I think Corey Graves last week, I think after we went off the air, he went on a huge Twitter tirade. This was last week before everything broke out about this, and it was kind of concerning to see him
he
fly
went
off
crazy.
The handle like that. So, and for the most part, I enjoy Corey Graves as an announcer. I think he's finally found something that he can, call his own. But this is not good. And we're talking about a publicly traded company, and this is a guy who's on TV as your announcer every
I don't know.
week.
I agree. I agree that it's a shitty thing he did to his family and his kids. With that being said, I mean, this happens all the time in every kind of job
It does.
world that
It does.
that it goes through. The only difference is that he's a public figure,
Mm-hmm.
and he's being thrown through the mud. Now, I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that
Not
he's
saying
right.
he's right.
But the fact is, this kind of stuff happens. It's just done in a public forum, and
Yeah.
that's what sucks. Honestly, the person that I feel probably the really bad about might be obviously his wife and his kids.
Yes, absolutely.
But there has to be something. I don't know if there's going to be anything that's going to be done by WWE about said
Yeah.
situation.
I don't know. That's the thing. Do you think something should be done?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't. I mean, if we're going to punish people for things like this is a in-home domestic dispute.
Yeah.
This is not a publicly traded company dispute. This is something that they need to
Point,
deal
yes,
with
okay.
with themselves. I don't feel that Vince McMahon should be like, hey, listen, Vince McMahon's a lot of things, but a love counselor, he is not. No. So I feel
No,
that
I've never heard those stories.
this is something that probably needs to be handled between the parties that are involved, not Vince McMahon or the WWE.
Yes, and the other thing George is mentioning is that Carmella is Corey Graves' daughter's favorite wrestler. Yeah.
It's a shitty situation. For
It is
sure.
it is a shitty situation.
But I don't.
I feel super bad.
I don't
for
blame the
kids.
WWE for it.
No. I don't either. No, this is not like they did not. Hey kid, why don't you cheat on your wife and we'll make it a storyline?
Hey, pal.
That didn't happen.
Hey, pal, she's really hot. Go have sex with her.
Yeah. So I mean, man, it's just a shitty situation, and I hope everything works out to some degree, whatever that is. And I honestly hope.
Have you ever been cheated on in life? Or in a relationship, I mean?
Not that I know of.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I have. Oh, for sure. For sure I have.
Tell us. No, don't tell us about, please.
I mean, I can't.
No,
but
no,
it's one of those situations where a company or whatever it may be isn't the one that's responsible for it. It just happens, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I think it needs to be self.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just hope, because, like I said, the things Corey Graves has been saying on Twitter lately.
You're engaged. Would you cheat on your girl with any WWE
No,
diva?
absolutely
Ever?
not.
None of them.
None of them.
Mandy Rose.
No.
Seriously, would you think about it?
No, I wouldn't.
A
Think
little
about
bit
it.
of a thought.
No.
A small inkling.
Not
of a
even
thought.
a little
It
thought.
crept into your mind. Just
No.
Mandy Rose. Not
It's
even.
it's like it's a lockbox.
Alexa Bliss.
No.
You think about it though.
No, I would not.
You've entertained the idea.
No.
Fantasize just a little bit.
No.
A little bit.
Not even a
I
little
think you're
bit.
lying. I'm not gonna lie, man. There's a lot of those girls in WWE.
Alexa
I would
Bliss
totally-
is very attractive, but
Is that your way of saying that she's attractive and you have fantasized about her, but without you saying that you fantasized about her because you're about to get married?
the Usos got in
Right.
trouble this weekend. Well, one of them did, and that's why I'm wearing this shirt. Because I've been down since day one-ish. Have you?
No, I have
No.
not. And I don't think I'm down since day 2-ish either.
Wow, not a fan of the Usos.
But here's the deal with the Usos.
Look at this man.
I think who was it? Jimmy? They got in
Jimmy got arrested. So what happened was he and Naomi were driving, Macon Town's brother. Naomi was driving. They got pulled over. Allegedly, the car smelt of booze.
Oh, so it's like my car.
And they took Naomi out of the car. I didn't take her out. I mean, she, got out under her own. Voluntarily. Jimmy didn't like this, and apparently got out of the car and, as many articles said, squared up against the officer. The officer went to reach for his taser, and Jimmy went, you know what? I think this is a bad idea. And then he got cuffed, and then I think his brother bailed him out a little later on. Yeah. I mean, I think this has happened to either Jay or Jimmy before. Squaring up against the cop, I have been told, is not a good idea.
I almost kicked a cop in the face once. True story, right? Remember my birthday when I was tuning up for some Sweet Chin music?
You were gonna HBK
It was my
finishing
birthday,
move.
and I was drunk. What else are you gonna do?
Just
That's
have
what
a
you
good time, I think. Oh,
I did.
You tuned up the band. That
I
was
did.
a good time.
And
you
then
were having.
JD here, who's right here, sitting right here, he was like, "Don't kick him in the face. Don't kick him in the face." And I was like, oh, "I'm not gonna kick him," but I was this close to. I was like, "You want some Sweet Chin music?" And they were like, "You get your friend home. He's stuck in a drink."
Larry makes a good point. This is a hell of a mugshot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it didn't really make a difference because they, spoiler alert, are the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
They beat The Miz and McMahon. Shane
I
McMahon.
know, what a shocker. Shocker of all shockers. I don't know. I think this is... They said the car smelt of booze, but I didn't hear anything about a breathalyzer test. So...
It's a new thing going on, because I just got in trouble last week, and they didn't breathalyze me either.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
This almost sounds like the state of the world we live in right now.
We don't
So
care
I don't
so
really,
much about rules.
No. So I really don't. I think it sucks that he reacted
Somebody
that
said,
way.
Hey, Joe and the Road Dog. You're the Road Dog.
Hey, I booked a hell of a main event tonight. Apparently, Kofi
Hey,
Kingston.
Joe and the Road Dog. Does that make me Billy Gunn? I don't know.
You're the greatest athlete
Am I
in the
Billy
WWE.
Gunn?
Apparently, the greatest pure athlete.
All right, so yeah, I don't know, man. This is
it sucks. He reacted poorly. It's just
You know what the
good
sad
that it
thing
didn't
is?
get out of hand.
The sad thing is both of our first two stories aren't necessarily taking place inside of a squared circle.
No, they're not.
It's taking place outside of a wrestling
But
ring.
they are wrestling
Related for sure.
And but hey, look at that guy. He's wrestling related.
Hey, I just saw
Kushida.
that guy.
I heard from my source.
I saw that guy in Orlando, Florida,
Well, now they know my source.
at the Performance Center. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
so tell us the story about the time splitter here.
So we were going through the Performance Center. There's gonna be pictures. You made me send all these pictures. I don't know why, but there's all these pictures. I was at the Performance Center on Tuesday and Wednesday,
Right.
and
There he is.
I
New
legitimately
superstar.
saw Kushida in a training room, and
And you confirmed it
confirmed it, and not only confirmed it twice actually.
2 times.
I confirmed it, and I asked Coach Matt Bloom. I said, "Is that Kushida?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." And then I confirmed it with WWPR. I was like, "Yo, I think I saw Kushida in a training room, or in one of the medical rooms." And the WWPR guy was like, "Yes, that is Kushida, and we haven't announced that he signed yet." And I was like, he's here.
Yeah.
He's here."
So we wrote up a little thing. It's up there. I looked everywhere. I mean, if you want to send me a link, people in the Matt, my name is John. It's not underneath me right now, but you can call me the Road Dog, I guess. That's fine.
Also, David has a great question, at least for me, and we're going to give you this question too.
Yes.
Joe D, what famous theme song would you come to the ring given the choice? I already know mine.
Like,
what would yours be? What would your theme song
now,
be?
David, are you talking like a
Like
wrestling theme song?
Any song.
Any song. Oh boy. There's a song by a band called Gojira, and they have a song called Flying Whales, and I always thought that was a cool song.
For me, All of
So.
the Lights by Kanye West.
That's a great song too. But if we're talking wrestling songs, it's Hollywood Blondes, and there is no other answer.
If we're talking
Straight up.
if we're talking wrestling songs for me, I think I would come to Cody's theme song.
David says, Eye of the Tiger or Real American or NWO music. Real American is still a banger.
I want to sing
It's
that
so
at karaoke
good.
one night.
It's just the greatest song ever, I think.
I've been told I'm our version of Cody Rhodes. You're our version
You
of
are.
the Road Dog.
I am. I'm the road dog, apparently. That's fine. But no, you saw Kushida.
I saw Kushida.
And, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Pretty jealous. Looks like you had a hell of a time.
I did. Honestly, that was like a dream come true. And I was almost getting... I'm not even going to lie to you, man. I was almost getting misty-eyed about being in a WWE wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those
That's cool.
things where, like, I love this stuff, right? I love wrestling, and I've always loved wrestling. And going in there and going into an promo and doing an entrance,
Yeah.
it was like, fuck, like, my dream came true in that one trip.
Yeah. Super cool.
I saw Shawn Michaels there.
Yeah.
I saw Adam Cole.
Oh, I've heard. Did you tell him how much I enjoy it?
Well, Adam Cole I saw very briefly.
I've heard he's a nice person.
He's a nice guy. I'll be honest with you. There was one person that I was not a super fan of because he was an asshole, and that's Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, you
Hey,
just told me
Velveteen
that.
Dream, you're a dickhead, bro.
Whoa.
Hey.
Shoot year.
Facts. I'm not
Hashtag
afraid.
shoot year.
I'm not afraid of that little bitch cake. Velveteen Dream is an
So
asshole.
you hate him now.
I mean, I think he's
Can you separate the man and the performer?
I think he's a great performer, but he's an asshole person.
Wow. Did he actually say no thank you?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's.
So let me tell you, it was him.
I need like the inflection.
So the way that it happened,
Was it him and Leo Rush?
No, it was actually him and Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh.
They were talking together, and because we were doing our interviews with Paige, so they were looking on what was going on, and this was all at the Performance Center, and then and then Tommaso kind of walked away, and then and then Alistair came in, and then he was hanging out with them. Then I was like, can I get a picture with you? With Velveteen Dream, and he was like, "No, thank you." Walked away, and I was like, "Okay." And then Alistair, I was like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And he was like,
Alistair Black is the best dude.
Oh, let me just tell you how I fell in love with
Rhea Ripley.
Not even bullshitting you. I'm going to tell you right now, Rhea Ripley owns my heart.
Wow.
I swear to
So
you.
she's your number one gal now.
I'm in love with you, Rhea.
You heard it here first, folks.
Let me tell you what happened though.
Okay.
So they had the women's training going on,
Right?
And they were all in the ring doing their thing, and then they came out of the ring and did more drills. But she's such a flirtatious person. Like her and I hit it off. I'm not gonna lie to you, but she kind of like was doing all these wrestling things, but like doing it with such a smile on her face and so much joy. And she kept like rolling into me because I was standing like near them. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I was like, "Oh no, it's no big deal." I kept doing it, and then she just kept like giving me these. I was like, "Oh man!" So we got to talking. Super cool chick, and I was like, and I didn't know, honestly. I didn't watch NXT UK. I didn't know any of this. So I was like, "Who?" And I asked somebody. I was like, "Who is that?" She's like, "Oh, that's Rhea Ripley. She's from NXT." I was like, and I looked her up. I was like, "Oh, that is her." But like the way that she looked, she doesn't look like she does in the.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's such a girly girl, and I was like, "Oh my god, I think I'm in love with her."
So I'm very excited. A couple of months, maybe a year from now, to write an exclusive on the engagement.
Me and Rhea.
I'm very excited.
She liked my Instagram post too with her and I. So
There you go.
Thanks,
That's how
Rhea.
it starts.
Thanks, beautiful. I love you.
That's Mike Rowe, yeah?
He's
Mike
a good
Rowe's
guy.
great.
Yeah, he's
great.
He's such a good dude.
He is a great Instagram follower.
Yeah, and he's a big fan of
A
hashtag show.
follow.
He's a big fan of hashtag show. Him and I talked about Power Rangers the whole time.
Yeah,
he
he's
actually,
a huge Power Ranger.
Yep.
Yeah.
He actually walked over with me to my interview and snapped pictures of me taking.
I saw
my interview
those.
with and put it on his Instagram.
He
story.
did.
He did. So thank you so much, Mike.
Yes, thank you. How was interviewing Paige?
Awesome. I love.
I assume we're going to see that at some point.
Yeah, about this week.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Paige. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I was not a huge fan of her wrestling work previously, and the cool thing. So, obviously, the movie "Fighting with My Family" is coming out this week, the February 22nd. I'm going to plug that.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is that I was doing an interview with her, and I asked. I forgot what question I asked her, but she literally brought her brother in, who the movie's also based on.
Yes.
To the interview. I was the only one that got to interview her and her real brother, who's in
Oh,
that picture
cool.
with me.
That's cool.
So he was there the whole time. I asked one other question I asked too, which I thought was a fun one. I was like, "Well, Survivor Series is usually in November. It's families, it's Survivor Series. Obviously, the Knight family is a long line of wrestlers that people are going to know about now. But what wrestling family would you like to see the Knights wrestle?" Two different answers. One, somebody answered the Samoans because The Rock is involved, and the
Yeah.
other answer, which was Paige's answer, is the Hearts. So. I think it was a fun time with a lot of those guys. Paige is amazing, and I can't thank her enough. She's such a gracious person.
She seems like just the coolest person.
But I've got to give credit to all the WWE staff, though. You know who's like, man, Matt Bloom,
yeah, he seems really cool too.
Robbie Brookstone, or what is
Brookside.
it? Robbie Brookside, Sarah Del Rey. Everybody was so accommodating to us, and it was so
That's
cool,
cool.
just being a fly on the wall in the WWE.
That's awesome.
There's me and Finn. Oh,
You and Finn,
so
the new Intercontinental Champion.
So here's the
Virgil
funny.
Devin.
Let me tell you about this story. So this wasn't at the Performance Center. This was actually at LAX.
Oh my God,
Finn was actually on my flight, and randomly on my flight.
that's crazy.
So we landed, and we landed, and I was like, "Listen, I'm a big fan." And we started talking about wrestling. It was super cool guy, and we started talking about just a ton of things. And then I was like, "Can we get a picture together?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then just a nice guy. Finn Balor is such a nice dude.
That's great.
Yeah, but it's so funny because he was like, "You were at the Performance Center?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like,
you
"When?"
tell
And
him
I was
you were
like,
training?
I was like, "Today I was at the Performance Center," and I showed him pictures. And he's like, "Holy shit, you were actually at the Performance Center." But yeah, that was Finn's a really good guy.
Good.
Really nice guy.
Perfect.
Lives up to the legend.
Now,
Now that Velveteen Dream, however, asshole.
wow, man. I hope he doesn't
that
watch
guy.
this. You'll be
Hope
the
he
next
does watch
victim
this.
of
I hope he does watch this.
He'll be wearing
I'll whoop his
Joe-
punk ass just like Tommaso Ciampa did. But
wow. Double or Nothing sold out in 4 minutes, you guys. But can you really claim it sold out in 4 minutes when you sold probably 10,000 of your tickets 2 days before?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on. No,
I'm excited for Double or Nothing. Listen, Cody's my spirit animal. I think everybody knows that.
Yes.
Funny enough, I actually never was a big fan of Cody Rhodes, just until people were like, "Oh, you know what?
I loved him in WWE.
Here's the thing.
I thought he was great.
I feel like I always attach to the people that, because originally, like a long time ago, they're like, "Oh, you'd be more like CM Punk," like a long time ago. But that's my attitude was a lot different then. But and I would never have related to this dude. And it's like, oh, now they're like, oh, I would assume people are like, oh, you'd be Kenny Omega. And it's like, no, you'd be Cody. And it's funny because I was like, I never really related to this guy until I started watching more and more of him. I was like, oh, maybe I would be Cody, actually.
Cody.
But I like Cody Rhodes. I like All Elite Wrestling. I think
Yeah.
Double or Nothing is going to be, obviously, it's already a huge success.
Yes, already.
The Rock tweeted out congratulating the sellout.
The Rock?
The Rock, Dwayne.
Oh, my God. They're getting everybody. First, me, Mark
Undertaker?
Calloway, and now Dwayne Johnson. My God, they really are taking over
As
the
long
world.
as my
This
future wife
motherfucker.
Rhea can somehow possibly make an appearance, then I'm
At
all in either way.
AEW?
Listen, Rhea, I love you.
She's doing just fine, I think.
All right, I'm in love with her though, no joke.
Okay. Do you think she'll see this, or should we send it to her?
Well, let's send it to her. I mean, listen, she already likes my Instagram post, so that's enough for me. It's
That's
enough for
pretty
me.
good.
It is enough for me.
Like I said earlier, that's a start.
Living the dream,
You got to
baby.
start somewhere.
I love Rhea.
Anyway, so All Elite Wrestling sells out in 4 minutes. Huge for them.
Hey, I'm happy to see our Star Wars guys in here. Sorry to cut you off.
What?
Justin Lee is in here. I saw another one. David Rosenfels,
Yeah, and Greg Evans.
Rosen something.
George, we're going to talk about Kofi for at least 6 hours.
I love Kofi.
We're going to be here
I
till
wanted
2 in the
I
morning.
wanted Kofi to win so bad tonight.
We'll get to it, but I mean, AEW selling out in record time is insane. Starcast 2 is looking to be huge, as we just saw.
Huge!
There.
Undertaker.
We saw Mean Mark Calloway there.
Bret Hart is doing a panel.
Bret Hart, the man they call Sting, a man who I finally saw wrestle at WrestleMania 31, and I might have openly cried.
Really?
Yeah, I love Sting.
Have you never seen Sting wrestle?
No, I'd
man,
never
I used
met-
to, when WCW used to go to the Great Western Forum.
I never saw WCW.
I used to, yeah, man. Sting used to, yeah.
I never saw WCW, and that broke
Oh man,
my
yeah.
heart.
So
you know what's
here's
even-
the thing. I grew up here in LA. WCW. The funny thing is, I used to go to wrestling events all the time when I was younger with my dad. And the thing is, though, with WCW, the tickets were always cheaper. I was in second row for like Clash of Champions in LA,
Dude, Clash of Champions is one of
and I
my
remember
favorite
the main
events.
event was Sting and Ravishing Rick Rude.
For the U.S. title.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I
That's what
love
I'm talking
WCW,
about,
but never...
I'm a big WCW guy too, man.
You know what's so strange? Like, let's just talk about WCW for 45 minutes. But they went to the Cow Palace, because I'm from the Bay. They were at the Cow Palace like every 6 days.
dude, there was a main event at the Cow Palace that was never televised, but it's talked about. It's a legend. Bret Hart against Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
After Owen died.
That's right.
And this was red and yellow Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And Bret Hart, both as baby faces. Mm-hmm. And
Man.
this match has never been televised. There's pictures of it. Never been televised. And this is the
could've
dream
been there.
match. To me, my
Back in
if
the
I,
90s?
if it was it was the 2000s,
It was,
early
yeah,
2000s.
early 2000s.
But the thing is, for me, my wrestling dream match of all time, has always been Bret Hart against Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Like babyface Bret Hart against babyface Hulk Hogan. That is my dream match of all time that I wish happened. And it was going to
Yeah.
at SummerSlam, I believe, 92?
Yes, it was.
Was it 93? It was SummerSlam 93, maybe. And,
Yeah,
they even
but then
had
I
a
think
promotional picture of Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan doing tug of war with the title.
Yes, that is right.
And it just never happened.
Just never
It's a
happened.
little insight you get here on the wrestling show. But I didn't ask you, what's your dream match of all time?
That is really hard, but I honestly think my most underrated wrestler of all time, Dean Malenko, would be involved somehow.
As a referee?
No.
As an agent? Not as a wrestler, right?
How dare you?
I'm just kidding.
How dare you talk about the Iceman that way? Dean Malenko.
Stanko Malenko?
Dude, if you go back and watch Dean Malenko matches, I'll defend Dean Malenko.
I just love the fact that I don't know why this is sparking this. I want to make this pro wrestling T-shirt. Is Chris Jericho used to call people by different names? Stanko Malenko.
Stanko Malenko.
Do you remember Prince Iakea?
What do you call him? Prince Ikanua?
Prince Nakamaki.
Prince Nakamaki.
Prince Nakamaki.
I'd honestly say, for me, a dream match that I would want to see now is, I mean, do we think Daniel Bryan's in his prime right now?
I think Daniel Bryan is in his prime, yes.
We still haven't seen, well, wait.
Would you say Dean Malenko against the Shockmaster, maybe?
I mean, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
He was Tugboat at one point
That's
before
true.
he was the Shockmaster. I would say Daniel Bryan, but I feel like we saw Daniel Bryan Nakamura already. I want to see that in like a non-WWE ring. How about that?
So all right? So you're going more modern. That's what your thing is.
Yes.
Because there's a few like AJ and Shawn Michaels I'd love to see.
That would be great.
Honestly, I'd love to see Adam
You know
Cole and
what?
Shawn Michaels.
I would love to see Jake Roberts in his prime versus Dean Ambrose.
Honestly, I would love to see.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I also would love to have. I mean, this isn't probably going to be a great match, but I would have loved to see how the storyline played out. But Jake Roberts and Ultimate Warrior, because that was something they were building to.
Yeah, and
remember the snake
really...
bit and never went anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of those wrestling storylines that could just get dropped, you know. And like Nails in the Undertaker. Remember they had that stare off?
Oh my god!
Right? There's
certain
wrestling storylines that I've always been fascinated with that have never just come to fruition. Randy Orton and HBK and Hulk Hogan too. And
yeah, you know, oversell like crazy again. Man, we could talk about dream matches all day. I feel
we actually should do an episode about dream matches.
I would be 100% down. Dude.
Yeah, I need a charge. Can you give me the?
So Double or Nothing sold out. I somehow, by a miracle of someone, I'm not sure who, maybe the Miz. I sometimes pray to the Miz. All hail.
All hail the Miz.
I somehow got tickets. I don't know how. I got them.
Thanks.
I got 2, so I'm going. Junior, our producer, is very mad at me.
I'm going.
You're going.
Oh yeah.
You're going with him. Okay, so we're all going.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it a couple of times, but StarCast is going to be crazy. We're gonna try to go to that too. I feel right.
I don't know if I'm gonna go to StarCast.
No,
but I'm gonna go to the All Elite for sure.
I mean,
I
want
to see my boy Cody.
Yeah, but face a unknown opponent. That was another thing that came out. A little video of him sitting in, I guess, by the water cooler somewhere in AEW headquarters, and somebody came in while he was talking to Hangman, and he said, "Hey," and they bleeped out the name, called again, and. They were like, "Oh," he's like, "Do you want to take that?" And he's like, "I don't know." And the guy said, "You don't have an opponent yet for Double or Nothing." And they have like a flyer, and half of it's blurred out. So
who do you think it is?
I honestly have no
Goldberg?
idea. I mean, Goldberg could be someone because I feel like.
But you don't think it'll be Cody's opponent?
I don't know.
Two
man.
Georgia guys going at it.
I don't know if I want to see that match.
Sure. All right. Then let's go through the.
I mean, I honestly.
Carlito.
It would be cool if it was. It would be cool if it was Carlito because he's Carlito cool. But I think I could see it being CM Punk.
You think it's CM Punk?
Whoa.
There you go. I'll just put
That's
that out
hey,
there.
that's a bold. I mean,
I'll put that out there. They're
friends.
Like they're friends.
They're
yeah.
buddies.
Could be Randy Orton.
Could be Randy Orton.
No.
What if it's Ted DiBiase?
Dude, I don't think Ted is, unless you know something I don't know and you're not telling me.
No, I don't know anything.
He's been done for a while.
What if it's Ted DiBiase Sr. And it comes out with the $1 million belt.
And Virgil?
And it's for
Virgil
the $1
needs
million
that
title.
payday. And it's for the $1 million title, and Cody
And it's
becomes
Sapphire's
the new...
daughter. On the line.
Wait, did that happen? Was that an angle? Is that something I'm missing?
What if it's Alberto Del Rio?
Man, I don't know. I don't want it Del Rio anywhere. That's not a fun match.
What if it's Ric Flair? I mean, it could be.
It could be.
Let's be honest. It really could be Ric Flair.
It could be. What if it's Bret Hart?
Bret Hart would never get in the ring again.
You don't think so?
I don't think Bret Hart can. I felt so bad watching him at his WrestleMania match because like
with him and Vince.
Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
And watching that match was just kind of like, man, Bret, like, you didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that match, but it's like I wanted to see Bret Hart.
Matthew says Cody versus Goldust.
I
Now that's been a rumor for a little while, and I could get
what
down
if
with
it's
that.
Batista?
Batista could be. George says could be Batista. That's another rumor. They throw a
down.
lot of money at him, get him away from Mania. That would be huge.
I could be down with Batista.
I could be down with Batista literally going anywhere. I honestly think Batista's pretty cool. I don't think he's the greatest wrestler, but he is a very good entertainer, and I would like to see him.
versus Orton too.
Man,
if
let me
it's-
tell you, why did they bring Batista back so early before Guardians of the Galaxy came out? If they had brought him out a little closer to that release, he would have been huge.
But it can't be Ambrose.
No, it could be Ambrose.
If it's Dean Ambrose, it's a huge match.
That's a huge match, and I would be fine with that. And that would be the return of the Shield Rhodes rivalry. I could get down with that.
But you think it could be CM Punk?
Why not? Sure. I think it could always be CM Punk.
It's Jack Swagger.
No, he says he's just punching people for real now.
Yeah, but he is. But Ron Killings did his like.
That's
Or-
true.
or
Ron
Truth
Killings
did, like, his entrance or whatever.
Did do his entrance. So I don't know. Justin says, what
And
do
he
you
still
think-
does the We the People thing.
He does, which is very.
In his
strange.
MMA, he does the We the People. He does his whole WWE gimmick
Yeah.
in MMA. Yes.
He does.
They gave him a chomp in MMA.
Justin says, I think Dean Ambrose should take a year off. They already have so many stars to establish. If they bring him in next year, I think it'll be something fresh.
So
in the words of Jim Cornette, how can we miss you if you never go away?
Well, let me tell you something. Actually, this is a question that I asked to Matt Bloom in the WWE at the Performance Center, and it was kind of eye-opening. Something I had never really thought about. So obviously, you guys are here for watching wrestling. Wrestling doesn't have an off season, and they had mentioned that. And I said this. I asked this exactly. I said, so with the way the concussions are and the way that injuries happen, do you think that certain wrestlers should have their own off season in terms of like writing them out for storyline purposes? And they said, you know what's funny you say that, because Triple H wants to do that, but with the way that wrestling works is that plans change all the time, mainly because people get injured like shoot wise, and everything changes. And he also said something which I never really picked up on until recently, was that it's easier for wrestlers to stay in the ring consistently taking bumps than it would be for them to take amount of time off,
Come back
and then
and
come back and do it again.
Because they're not in ring
Because
shape.
they're going to lose a step.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well that makes a little bit more sense. But
Yeah, but I mean, like, they
Yeah.
have the Performance Center, so someone in the comments said, "What's going on with Bray Wyatt?" I don't know. He's
you know who
hanging
I saw
out.
at the Performance Center? Legit.
Bray Wyatt.
No, I saw Sasha Banks there.
Oh,
But this is when when she had
broke
that
the story.
shoulder injury. The shoulder injury is actually a shoot because she was working out her shoulder specifically.
yeah, I heard that was, and they didn't know she was going to be cleared, and
Yeah.
then obviously they cleared her. We'll get to Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. So and that's what I was talking about with Finn Balor is that, or Prince Devitt, whatever you want to call him. Fergal. I asked him, I was like, do you live in Orlando? And he's like, yeah, most of us are all based here. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he's like, mainly it's because the Performance Center's there. It's because that is a 24-hour place that they can go to get medical attention, ring time, and a gym.
Yeah.
So it's something, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
So the people, and I asked this to also, and it's in one of the videos, to one of the trainers of WWE, the strength trainer. I asked him, because he said, we train them a specific way to get for the WWE lifestyle. And I said, but obviously NXT is a lot different because they can come here every week, right?
Right.
But on the road, you can't
No.
do that, right? And he says, and he told me this exactly. He said, well, we hope that we can instill the knowledge in them so they can take this on the road and train this way on the road. So
Okay.
obviously being on the road does affect them. Being in Orlando, a part of the Performance Center is obviously
Right.
a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And it's another funny thing Finn and I talked about? Complacency in NXT.
And hitting cops?
Hitting cops.
Did you?
We did talk about.
Expand more on the first thing.
So I did talk about this with him and WWE officials that were there. I asked straight up, do people like being in NXT more than they do like being in WWE? And they said, no wrestler is going to tell you this publicly, but there's a lot of people that rather just be at NXT.
Yeah.
But it's not good for their career to say otherwise.
No, like you sign with. I don't want to go to WWE. I just want to stay here.
But
And I
asked Finn the same thing, and he said this exactly. And I asked him, he was like, there's a lot of guys NXT that want to stay at NXT, but I feel like they're just being complacent.
Hey, he would know, right?
He would know.
He would definitely know. Man, that's so cool. That's cool. Let's talk about Elimination Chamber. Just happened tonight. A lot of crazy stuff going on. We see Buddy Murphy there. Old Bud Murph. He retained his title. Sorry.
He was at the Performance Center.
Yeah, he was?
Yeah.
Awesome. He's great. He's still your Cruiserweight champion, defeating Akira Tozawa. So we'll see what's up next for Buddy Murphy.
Let's talk about who do you think is going to be the biggest signee and who's going to really get this Cruiserweight division off the ground? Honestly, do you think it's going to be Kushida? Or do you think maybe putting Rey Mysterio there?
No, Rey Mysterio's not going to 205. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He did, right?
Yeah, I mean...
In Mexico.
Not on purpose, but...
Obviously not on purpose.
Welp.
But let's talk about this. Who's the biggest 205 Live signee that's really going to make an impact?
Humberto Carrillo is the big... No, I'm honestly not sure. I actually don't even know if Kushida's actually going to end up in 205.
Rumor has it that he's going to NXT.
Like, he'll be in NXT, and then they'll see what they want to do with him there.
What's another thing I asked? I said, how come... Because this is a statistic I didn't know. 60% of the WWE main roster, Raw and SmackDown, is made up of NXT talent. That's
really?
60% of the rosters. That's something they credit Triple H, or they call him Paul. They credit him for all this.
Paul! Say my shoot name.
It's my boy, Paul.
Yeah, that's everybody's boy.
But I think that the more interesting fact is they said this. I said there's certain people that have been able to skip NXT and come to mind. There's 4 people I can think of specifically: AJ Styles, Anderson and Gallows, Bobby Lashley, and believe it or not, Mike Bennett.
Well, Mike Bennett, I think, was more of a. It was a. As long as we can sign you and your wife.
Sure.
Yeah.
But fair enough. They all didn't go to NXT, and I asked how come there's a decision that's made that somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura has to go to NXT, but other guys don't. And the exact answer I got was there's one man that makes that decision, and that's the big man. That's Vince.
Oh, okay.
So we do know that Vince has an influence on who he specifically wants on the main rosters.
Right. Okay.
Which I don't
he
think
always
is
has final say.
It's not a big spoiler, but I feel like
No.
that's something everybody should
That's
know.
a good. Well, Buddy Murphy retained his championship, and then we opened the pay-per-view, or the whatever you call it now, the network special event, with the Women's Tag Team Championship match in the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, my girl Sasha.
And there we are. Look. Sasha Banks and Bayley, the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
So how's this going to work? They're going to defend it on both shows?
I have been reading that they are going to be like the Universal Champion originally was, and they can just roam.
Okay.
Which is fine. I think that's...
Do you think they'll roam to NXT and WWE and NXT UK?
I think that would be awesome. I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I think they just
I'm just
stick
really saying that
around.
because I want my girl Rhea to get a shot at these titles eventually.
Rhea doesn't have any friends right now.
Well, she has one right here.
I don't... Well, we know that WWE is not going to do intergender wrestling at any time.
That's for you, Rhea.
Oh, wow. It's great. She'll love that. We'll
does.
gift that and send it to her.
Let's do it because she'll like it. She'll like it on her Instagram.
There we go.
Here's for you, Sasha.
That's for you, Rhea.
Whoa. So I heard this match was insane. I saw a little video of Nia Jax just running
that
through.
too.
There is just her passed out. Man, I'm really glad they didn't win.
Yeah, me too. Nia Jax is whack.
No offense to Mina, who can do a super kick, and that's about it.
Well, even Nia Jax is unsafe in the ring. Let's move on. We already know who won. Sasha
Moving
Banks
on.
is brilliant. I love her.
Moving on.
Moving on, we had, as we talked about earlier, Jimmy Uso, joined by his brother Jay, we'll talk about that a little later. They defeated McMiz to become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champion. So I guess it doesn't really matter if you get arrested on a Friday and show up to work on a Sunday.
Well, I got no, that's cool. I got arrested on a Saturday and I showed up to here. On
You
Sunday,
did?
So We're solid.
Yeah, good. We need to get you a belt. Because apparently that's the other thing. If you complain in the WWE that you want to leave,
I have a
they
belt.
give you a shiny new belt.
I have a belt.
You do?
Yeah. I'll bring it next week.
Oh, okay. Good.
The Winged Eagle, the real Winged Eagle.
Yeah.
WWE gave me a Winged
Graves
Eagle.
tomorrow? A Graves?
Graves will get a pink slip. No, I'm
He
not,
probably won't.
I'm
He's
not
actually a really good announcer, though.
I'm not really sure what he'll get.
He'll get a blowy from
Whoa.
Carmella.
From who?
Sorry.
Another Blowy Joe?
Anyway, Finn Balor defeated Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush to become the new Intercontinental Champion. There he is right there.
Look at
He
those
has
abs.
A million abs.
You have abs like that?
No.
10-pack.
No,
I think you have
don't.
abs like that.
No, I don't.
Yep.
I definitely don't. So good for Finn.
The workhorse title.
I think, yeah, he's got the workhorse title. I think he should have beaten Brock, but whatever.
You know, you knew that he wasn't going to beat Brock when he didn't come out with his demon gimmick.
Yeah, and also, hey, he won a title without the demon gimmick. So
That's because
pretty
Bobby
cool.
Lashley's whack.
Wow. Well, Bobby Lashley didn't look too whack in that picture we saw before. Where,
I mean, he's buff as shit, but the thing is, he has no charisma.
yeah. Well, here's like one guy who has charisma and two guys who don't, beating up Braun Strowman.
I love Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre is the man.
I think 2019 is going to be the year of Drew McIntyre.
I would love to see Drew versus Finn for the IC title.
I would love to see that for the Universal title.
That would be great. That'd be amazing. But Baron Corbin, as he's known on the internet, Big Breakfast comes out on
Big
top
Breakfast.
here.
Why is he called Big Breakfast?
I don't know.
Why
I
is
just
that?
saw it one day, and I
Is that what
was
he's
like,
known, or is that what you want to call him?
I'm going to call him Big Breakfast.
All right.
Big Breakfast. Big banter, Baron
Waffles and
Corbin.
eggs?
Big Breakfast. That's a big breakfast. That's Big Breakfast. Big Breakfast Baron.
Big Breakfast Baron.
Triple B.
He has a lot of nicknames.
Triple B.
I also call him Business Casual Corbin.
Right.
This is casual
That's
Corbin.
what
I
he
like
wears
that. I
to
like
the
Business
ring.
Casual Corbin.
But this is apparently a new trio that we have. All right, I guess. I mean,
The new triple threat.
the
Where's
worst
Francine?
triple,
Where's
the worst
Francine?
triple threat. It's Leo Rush.
It's Leo Rush's
is
Francine?
the Francine of this this trio. Ronda. Okay, so I did not see this match, and I don't even know if you can call it a match. Ronda Rousey defeats Ruby Riott in a squash in under 2 minutes, which is fucking bullshit. They do Ruby Riott wrong here, which is terrible because she's a great wrestler, and I mean, it was
They just fed her to Ronda.
yeah, that's all it was, and it was just to set up the angle at the end where Charlotte comes out and they get into a little altercation, but then the suspended or fired or whatever you want to say in storyline, Becky Lynch comes out with a crutch and just beats the shit out of both of them.
Becky Lynch is literally the hottest performer of all of pro wrestling right now.
She's stone cold. You know what's funny though? There's that picture. I remember everyone's like, wow, isn't this great? Becky's just like Stone Cold. She's just like Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the Attitude Era.
But
wow, this is amazing.
she
And
doesn't
when
have
she
any-
gets screwed over by a McMahon, everyone's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Interesting fact, guys. On that hashtagshow.com, Mandy Rose gets more traffic than any other female wrestler. On that.
Did you know that? Mandy Rose gets
Mandy
more traffic.
Rose. I heard she had a good showing tonight.
Yeah,
in
she
the,
did. Did you see her?
Just FYI.
I'm talking wrestling-wise.
I'm just talking about numbers, like people who actually want to.
They want to look at Mandy Rose.
He told me to shut up.
He did.
Here's the deal.
I can confirm.
You know what the difference is, though, between Becky Lynch, though, and Stone Cold Steve Austin? Becky Lynch doesn't have the shirt sales because she doesn't have great shirts. The man. I guess the
I
man
think the
shirts,
man
right?
is a pretty... I mean,
Hey,
I don't
I
know.
saw. Remember back in the day, you see Stone Cold shirts all the time.
Oh, yeah.
316.
You couldn't-
You're not
you couldn't-
seeing man shirts all the time. The man shirts.
You're not seeing man shirts.
I mean, you're seeing. I see more Bullet Club shirts than any. I mean, obviously.
I mean, yeah. I actually almost wore my Bullet Club shirt tonight, but I decided to be down since day one. So
Day one-ish.
Day one-ish. Becky gets
It's
arrested.
like ish. I don't understand what the shirt means.
Ish.
Actually.
It's like day one shit, but they can't put that on a WWE shirt.
Oh, I thought it meant like ish, like kind of like maybe between day 2 and day 1 ish.
Maybe they're like, we've
I
been
couldn't
down
figure
since
it
the
out.
middle of day.
We've been down since the middle of the day ish.
middle of the second day.
Middle of the- ish.
Could you imagine?
That would be
great.
hilarious. If that's the tagline for the shirt.
Oh man, I love. Do you remember day one is H when Breezango was doing that?
Breezango was the best.
They're amazing. I'm surprised they never came out with a day one is H shirt. But let's talk about the main event here. Elimination
I ain't through with
Chamber.
you, Vince. Not yet. Not by a long shot.
Well, she was smiling on the way out. Main event here was for the WWE Championship, the new revamped WWE Championship.
The hemp title.
The hemp title. Sustainable hemp is what I heard.
Sustainable hemp title.
We had Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe.
And then special appearance by Hulk Hogan.
And Hulk Hogan was there, and everyone said, please leave. And he said, all right.
All right, brother.
So, man, Kofi Kingston. Let's talk about Kofi Kingston for the next 45 minutes. Kofi Kingston was put into this match last minute because Randall wanted to show Mustafa Ali who's boss and closed his eye up real good and gave him
He did that on purpose, do you think?
No.
I mean,
Maybe.
Randy Orton is an asshole, I've heard.
Maybe. Anyway, so they said, let's put one of the New Day in, and of course Kofi gets in, and Kofi ran the gauntlet on SmackDown, and it was insane. Like, they somehow remade Kofi Kingston in that. And then tonight they said, let's remake him again. And he went the distance. He didn't win. He was defeated by Daniel Bryan, but hey, we ended the show with the crowd chanting for Kofi. They brought him up to the ramp, and you get kind of like a goosebump thing where Xavier Woods says to him, "You did this. You did this." So, what do you think? Do you think Kofi? Do you think he points at that sign before WrestleMania and he gets his one-on-one match with Daniel Bryan?
Fastlane, Kofi Kingston against Daniel Bryan. Kofi wins the WWE title.
So you think he would go into Mania?
I think what happens, he goes into Mania. The New Day has a split. Big E turns on them, and it's Big E against Kofi Kingston. WrestleMania, special guest referee Xavier Woods, and he has to choose a side.
That's interesting, but I think
There's been worse main events.
No,
Randy
there has.
Orton and Bray Wyatt. Wow, what?
Remember the bugs on the
Yeah,
mat?
yeah. The
that
snake
was
thing? So fucking stupid.
terrible.
I would love to see that
Ugh.
though. I would love to see that. I was also like, honestly, Kofi. Listen, as progressive as WWE has been and will be, like I was talking about this with one of our other cast members, Daniel, yesterday, is that in professional sports, there's not a lot of openly gay athletes.
Right.
Michael Sam, obviously, for football, but he's not in the league anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple in basketball. They're not in the league anymore. WWE has embraced gay athletes. You look at Sonya Deville.
Yes.
There was also Darren Young.
Darren Young.
So they've embraced it. And I think that WWE is ahead of that curve. They've never had a full black WWE champion ever in the history of their existence.
Which is insane.
Kofi Kingston can be that guy because he's earned the fans' respect. And if you know what it reminds me of, Seth Rollins did a very similar thing in that gauntlet match that he had, and it was the Summer of Seth or whatever they called it, the Monday Night Rollins.
Yes.
That Kingston pretty much did that on SmackDown,
And
went longer actually.
Yeah, an hour, a full hour.
And it was good.
Yeah.
This is a dude that can perform at the high level. It's been shocking to me that he hasn't gotten a taste of a world title or main event picture besides that Randy Orton run he had back in like 2008.
Oh man, where he wrecked Randy's ride.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember that?
But that was the closest he got to the main event picture, and it's always shocked me. And I always think too in my head that is it the reason because him and CM Punk were best friends? They kind of like oh, you know, we're not.
It could have been. It could have been basically his version of the Click.
Right.
When they all left, he could beat.
And he was the
Triple
guy
H.
that was eating shit, right?
Yeah, he could be it. Justin says Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry. Now, but
They were never WWE champions.
Lashley was the
ECW
Impact
champion.
and the ECW champion. Wow, I forgot about that.
And Mark Henry was the world champion. And
Yeah,
so was
he was
Booker
never-
T, so was Ron Simmons. We're not counting that. I'm counting specifically
like
WWE.
WWE
The
champion.
only person that comes the closest is The Rock by
Yes.
being half black, but there's never been a full-on African-American or black champion WWE's ever had. Matter of fact, there's also never been a Japanese champion WWE's ever had. Shinsuke Nakamura would have been the first at that point.
And they didn't pull the trigger on that.
I wish
for
they
some
would have,
reason. I don't know what that was about,
But honestly, people, Greg E. Bean says people forget how talented Kofi is.
yeah, absolutely.
It's
They
Kofi
do.
Kingston might.
They forget how talented all of those guys
You know
are
who
individually.
he's the best utility wrestler that you can ever want on a roster.
I agree.
He's a guy that you can put in any program, any match, any storyline, and get a good match out of. And to me, that's kind of and does it in a WWE style and makes it entertaining.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
This
Kofi,
dude has
very
it all.
underrated. I would love for them to put the belt on him. That could be like Fastlane for him could be like what Eddie Guerrero defeating Brock Lesnar
yeah,
at
yeah, yep.
back. It wasn't Backlash.
It was Backlash.
Backlash.
Yeah.
That could be his defining
No,
moment.
it was either Backlash or No Way Out. It's one. Of
It
the
was
two.
No Way Out. It was No Way Out. It was in the Cow Palace,
Yep.
and I didn't go, and that is my biggest wrestling regret
No,
of all
that's
time.
but that's a great comparison though.
Yeah.
because that I actually just recently watched that Eddie Guerrero match, and
It's so good.
Eddie Guerrero is one of those guys where you follow his career. He was a cruiserweight. He did this. He did that. He was in WCW, and he wins the world title. That crowd pops so big, and even
was
as a fan,
insane.
it's one of those things. Like I'm not a huge Eddie Guerrero. I love Eddie Guerrero. I'm not a huge I'm a fan of his work, but
Right.
he was never my favorite, right?
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well done, like that's deserving.
That was
right?
the best. They did that so well, and they could do that for Kofi. That would be if he won.
No
the
Way
title,
Out. It was No Way Out.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good comments. Too.
Yeah, the chat room is just killing it.
You
today.
guys are killing it
You
right
guys
now,
do
brother.
a Good job.
Look, I honestly feel that Kofi Kingston is our modern era. I would say probably like Eddie Guerrero.
He could have his Eddie Guerrero moment, and he could go on to be a great singles wrestler. But I don't think that necessarily means the New Day has to break up. I think the New Day's fine. I think a lot of people want them to go their separate ways, but this is showing us they don't have to. They can still be a unit and support your friends. They're all friends in real life. Support your friends. If he wants to go for the world title, go for it.
You got to
We'll
think
do
about something.
else.
The New Day was created to be almost be kind of like the modern day Nation of Domination.
Well, I mean,
Ish.
originally,
Ish.
yeah.
One day ish. But I think that the whole thing with that is that it was created as this African American stable that it wasn't supposed to be what it came out to be.
Right.
Those three guys took their destiny in their own hands and made it work. As a fan of wrestling, we live in this era now of wrestling where they get a piece of paper and they have to recite it. He was world champion, not WWE
He was
champion.
world champion. He had the big gold belt.
But
Great run for him, by the way.
you get a piece of paper, you have to recite it, those are your lines. If you can break outside of that in the modern era of wrestling, that means you actually have talent, and the New
Yes.
Day has talent.
They all have talent.
All three of them have talent, and it's like the funny thing is, it's like who's the creative genius between the three of them? Is it Xavier? Is it Big E? Is it Kofi? You don't know because it's so seamless. And by the way, the fucking video game thing that they had against the Bullet Club and Kenny Omega fucking was amazing.
Yeah.
Like
That
it was
was a lot
go
of fun.
watch it on YouTube. It's hilarious.
It's so good. You know what, George? Thank you for bringing this up. I did read this rumor, and I think Junior sent it to me, and I said, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Not the craziest thing I've ever heard. The rumor was that Jimmy Uso and Naomi are trying to get fired, so that's...
Just to go to AEW?
Yes. Which is... I mean, when I want to get fired from my job, I, drive my car around and wait for a cop to pull me over and go, I think this is the time it'll happen.
Joe
Well,
just hits the cop.
I just hit them and then and then tell them I'm gonna super kick them, and that usually does it for me. And I still can't get fired, but that usually does
And
it.
I still can't get fired.
That
Confirmed.
We end up getting his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think that's a ridiculous rumor. I
it's
don't think that was the plan. They went, here's the plan. This is what we're gonna do to try to get fired. So the two of us, so Jimmy can have his singles run in AEW.
Oh, this.
I
Is
mean,
a great
Naomi
comment.
kind of makes sense.
Justin Lee says Corey Graves' commentary for the Women's Elimination Chamber was awkward.
Yeah, I heard that too. They should have just muted his mic for that entire match.
Corey Graves, you are burying yourself, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those Mandy Rose comments he makes now, kind of.
Oh yeah, maybe too soon.
Yeah.
I think though that you know what? Speaking of Greggy Bean talks about the Mark Henry documentary that aired, and he said it was really good. I've been watching a WWE documentary about Nigel McGuinness, which I hadn't seen before.
I heard
It's
that.
very good.
I vaguely know his story, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah, like it is really
Yeah.
heartbreaking. Actually, it's a guy that had a dream of being a professional wrestler. Went to Ring of Honor, was one of the best ever.
He was so good. Did you ever?
Yeah,
Have you seen his?
I've
matches?
seen him in Ring of Honor and as Desmond Wolfe when he was in TNA.
I personally love Desmond.
I did too. And remember Fortune?
Yeah, Fortune. Who was in Fortune? It was
AJ
him?
Styles,
Yes.
Frankie Kazarian, Desmond Wolfe, James Storm, and Bobby Roode. And that's
And
they
then
spun off
Flair
and
was
did
there
Bivens.
too, right? Flair was there too.
Flair was there, and then eventually they got Matt Morgan was in it.
Oh, it was that when he had Hogan's
Big
row.
Matt Morgan, yeah. Like
Let me tell you that Bischoff Hogan run in Impact
it was exciting.
was pretty good. And
Rob
I'm gonna
Van
say-
Dam against Jeff Hardy for the.
I'm going to say something that a lot of people aren't going to agree with. If the Aces and Eights storyline was 2 months shorter, it would have been one of the best storylines ever told in wrestling.
How do you feel about Joker Sting?
Main
Main
Event
Event
Mafia.
Mafia was the shit. I loved Main Event Mafia. I honestly, I thought that was a brilliant.
Main Event
stable.
Mafia was great.
It was a brilliant stable. It's like, oh man, was it Sting, Booker T, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash,
Yeah.
Kurt Angle,
Kurt Angle.
and then eventually Samoa Joe? But
Yes.
like, the Main Event Mafia storyline was actually pretty cool, and I mean, it fit. It was just so well done.
Fortune was one of my favorites, and
This
I-
was,
I
so,
used to
so they
watch-
couldn't do this for the Four Horsemen. So they did this.
Yeah.
instead. That's what they did. You remember that?
yes.
Um,
Joker Sting.
Joker Sting.
I thought it was weird, but to see the evolution of his makeup as he became crazier, like he purposely made it so it got each week it would turn into the Joker makeup. I thought that was pretty cool. Besides that, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Joaquin Phoenix, baby.
I'm excited though because I think WWE is in a good place, but I do really think that AEW is this. We're about to see game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Led by my boy Cody Rhodes.
There they are.
Oh,
There's
Frankie
Fortune.
Kazarian. I forgot Frankie was in it too. Did I say Frankie? Maybe
You
we
did.
said Frankie.
Have you ever seen or heard Frankie Kazarian's AJ Styles impression?
No, is it good?
It's spot on.
I've seen his Triple H impression on Being the Elite.
Ooh, that's pretty good. All right, let's wrap things up here, shall we? I think this is a pretty good show. I think we need to do that dream match thing. A lot of people were commenting on.
Okay, how about
on
next
dream
week? Let's do a
matches.
challenge then. Article. This is for you guys out there that are watching this right now. I want to hear, and you can send your submission into THS@hashtagshow.com. Let us know what your dream pro wrestling match would be and tell us the reason why, and we will publish that on that #show.com. I want to know, because for me it's Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart, but there's a lot that I want to see. AJ
Yeah.
Styles and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels and Adam Cole. Kenny Omega and AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. And you know, what? I'll challenge myself. I'll put together top 5. How about that?
Top 5. So
I'll do an article this week with top 5 dream matches I want to see.
The Hart Foundation. Oh man.
Tag team matches.
Because
Don't
once
even
you get the
started on
revival
that.
involved, it makes me feel like, oh shit, there's so many tag teams I'd love to see them
Yeah,
against.
I would love to see Legion of Doom in their prime versus the Dudley Boys.
Oh, that's a
I
good
think
one.
that would be fucking rad.
That's a good one. Get the
that last
tables.
comment about, guys?
Get the tables. Rollins versus HBK, the architect versus the showstopper.
Holy moly.
Would you want to see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I missed it. Oh, that's the new
Sting and the Undertaker. That's
the match that never happened, and it was supposed to happen at a WrestleMania earlier on in Sting's career before he went to Impact. Did you ever see? That's another documentary, and he said, or I don't know if it's a documentary or shoot interview, and he said I didn't go to WWE right away because I saw how they treated Booker T.
Yeah, because the Rock turned around and he said, "Who are you? Who are
Yeah.
you?" Honestly, another one: Booker T and Ron Simmons.
Oh my God.
Prime though.
Dude, let me tell you, when Ron Simmons beat Vader for the world title, I remember watching that shit as a little kid.
I remember it too. Yeah.
That shit was wild. It was so fucking cool. Ron Simmons was great.
There's so many. Now that I'm really sitting here thinking about this, there's like Dean Ambrose and Roddy Piper, CM Punk and Roddy Piper.
I cannot wait. Yeah, and people send in what you think. Justin just won me over. Ultimo Dragon versus Mustafa Ali.
Oh,
Ultimo Dragon's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Also, man, there's like Zack Sombre Jr. Right?
Woo!
Like, there's a lot of guys we can do this with.
Yeah.
Like you can do this with so many wrestlers.
Steiner Brothers versus AOP. Holy shit.
Man, honestly,
Oh my god.
honestly,
There's
there's
see a Frankensteiner all over the place.
there's a lot of matches. I mean, even like there's even some that can still happen.
Yeah.
That I haven't seen yet. Like we said, like Kenny Omega and AJ Styles, right?
Yeah.
Kenny Omega and Shinsuke Nakamura.
We were supposed to see that match. I don't think we ever did.
We were supposed to see that match. Hangman Page.
Hangman Page versus anyone. He's the best.
There's so many great wrestling matches that I think could happen now. Honestly, here's another one. Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Cody Rhodes and almost anybody. I mean, did you see the work that he was doing when he left WWE? It's like
I saw one of his first matches. I saw him at Battle of Los Angeles.
oh yeah,
That was great. He had Bola boots and he gave him away after his last
just
match.
so many matches that can or should happen. Like I would have loved to have seen Randy Savage and CM Punk in their prime.
That'd be amazing.
Jake the Snake opens up a whole new door. Jake the Snake and Scott Hall, right? There's so many.
Who versus
things.
Kenny? Bret Hart versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many. Kurt Angle versus almost anybody that he's never wrestled, right? Like
Kurt Angle versus Bruno Sammartino.
well, I don't know. San Martino's a different style back then. But I mean, somebody we haven't
Okay,
really
no,
mentioned-
I got you. Kurt Angle versus Mr. Perfect.
You kidding me? That Kenny Omega versus Mr. Perfect. You know what I mean? Like
Kurt Hennig, man, so good. All right, we could go on.
yeah, we can go
And
on
we
all
will.
day.
We're here for
The
another
Hardys
2
and the
hours.
Rockers.
Hardys and the Rockers.
You
would
kidding
be
me? That'd
fun.
have been great.
I'd be totally down.
The Rockers versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, that would be
Like
great.
honestly, that would have been super cool back in the day, right? Let me ask you a question before we go.
Okay.
One last question. Do you think that we're getting to a point in wrestling where WWE or any other big promotion is willing to work together to make? Because the Super Bowl started with the NFL and the AFL. Do you ever think we're going to get to a wrestling event where it's going to be like all these wrestling organizations that are like, hey, this is our big. This might be WrestleMania, where it's like AEW, WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor.
Right.
Do you ever think we'll get there?
I think
Yeah.
we will get an event like the Worlds Collide event that happened in the
That was
early
brilliant.
90s, which was
Well, there was
amazing.
also recently the Worlds Collide event in WWE with NXT UK, and 205 Live.
I think you can do, if they do something like that
So I was talking
in,
to WWE officials,
Yeah.
and they said that's the direction they want to start moving in.
that would be amazing. You know what I didn't like about that is they only showed 5 matches and everything else was highlights. I sat down, I was like, I'm here for 4 hours. I'm going to watch all of this, and it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I think WWE competing with itself, yes, in that aspect, I think we will see. We could see it. I know AAA does it kind of in one of their shows, but I don't know if we'll ever see something like New Japan, AEW, Ring of
I think
Honor.
we're more likely to see a New Japan WWE team up than anything else, though.
I mean,
now.
that would be insane.
It's just
I'd
so
lose my mind. If
different. Hey, by the way, something else we didn't talk about, which is huge news and should be mentioned, is Jay White is the new.
Oh my
IW
God! What
How
are
did that-
we doing with our lives?
Yeah, Jay White is the IWGP
I woke
World
up
Champion.
and about dropped my fucking phone on my face when I saw that.
You and me both, because it feels like it felt to me that like, wow, was Tanahashi a transitional champion?
Yes, he was.
Like that was a very
Breathe with the switchblade.
but it was a very bizarre turn of events, and it's almost unless Switchblade's great.
Yeah.
But it was very bizarre because it's kind of like, okay, it felt like after Kenny Omega, they were going to go more towards this traditional
Can't believe we didn't
Japanese
know that.
route. Yeah, right?
I can't believe we forgot about
Yeah,
that.
but Jay White is the current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
And he told us. He did not lie to us. He said this was going to happen.
But we're going to talk more about that next week
Yes.
and New Japan Pro Wrestling, along with fantasy dream matches that we want you guys to chime in about.
Yes.
Send your submissions to THS at thathashtagshow.com. That's going to do it for us, though.
That's
Right?
it. that's it for us. You got to do the catchphrase because I'm forgetting it again.
All right. Well, where can
I'm an old man.
where can everybody find you besides our website at that#show.com?
You can find me at JP Thrice. That's JPTHRICE everywhere.
And you can find me at the Covina Police Department all the time in jail. That's going to do it for us right here at that #show. We appreciate you guys watching us. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button to stay up to date with everything trending
In geek pop culture.
Boom!